Now, while we are on the topic of venues in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Glens of USL League Two made a big announcement this week saying that they are designing and announcing plans for a soccer-specific facility at Treasure Island. The release reads, the San Francisco Glens Soccer Club announced plans to develop its own soccer-specific facility at Treasure Island. After receiving unanimous approval from the city of San Francisco last month, construction is set to begin this summer with a goal to kick off the waterfront by the spring of 2022. I spoke to the director of the Glens, Mike McNeill. He offered this.
Plans of our facility that has been unanimously approved by the Treasure Island Development Authority in the city of San Francisco. So what that means is that we are going to have a practice and games facility on Treasure Island for both our academy and first team. And to my knowledge, this is the only time this is happening in the 120-year history of soccer in San Francisco, right? So it's, as you can imagine, it's very difficult to get land to be able to build on. And that's, for us, it's been, like I said, it's been a very long time coming, but something that we're really happy about. And I think it's going to change the way San Francisco soccer is looked at from the outside looking in. And it's absolutely going to change or improve the landscape of the sport here in San Francisco.
Andy expounded upon what more will be entailed with this facility.
So this is going to be a soccer specific facility. We're going to have a 11v11 full-size FIFA approved field. We'll have two practice pitches off to the side, and then we're also going to have a regulation size futsal court. And then the plans are to have other facilities such as locker rooms and meeting rooms, et cetera, out there.
And he also talked about the greater desire for the club's growth in San Francisco.
The long-term goal for the club, we haven't hidden it. It's been very public, is that we want to have a professional pathway. And the MLS Next gives us the next step really into that professional pathway. We have the USL League Two. We have ambitions of growing our men's and women's programs into the professional leagues. And I think that the MLS Next gives us that platform. So we are pursuing it. We've talked to the league for months and months and months now. And I think that we're in a good position to be granted that. And I think it kind of shows towards what we've been working towards in the past 4 to 5 years, right? The club is old in a sense that, in American terms, that we've been around since 1961, but it's only been the past 3 or 4 years that we've really decided to take these next steps into professionalizing our program. And when I say professionalize our program, not just from an adult standpoint, but professionalize our youth academy as well, and really create the best possible development environment for players in San Francisco. We want to be the club that takes a player from San Francisco, from the Bay Area, and put them into a professional level. And just in the past 3 years, since we've done this, we've surrounded ourselves with great people, bringing on top level people from both the coaching and supportive staff, and with the great support of our board of directors as well. But in the last 3 to 4 years, you've seen we've put 34 players into either college or pro, or directly drafted into Major League Soccer as well. So I think that on the field, there's obviously success, and what we're showing is that we have the infrastructure, the resources to be able to be successful in terms of what we're doing out at Treasure Island and the growth of our club.
So this was just really big news in general to have a venue, because we've seen some of these situations before, like with the Deltas and them trying to play at Kezar. I think that now to utilize a new space that is more of a destination, that is something that we haven't had before in San Francisco, that's going to be nothing but a good thing. And I think that you also have a little bit more of a potential out there, because on Treasure Island, it is not developed to the extent that we associate with San Francisco, and trying to make things happen in San Francisco, as we all know, is next to impossible. Ask the San Francisco 49ers, for instance. But this is just going to be able to allow more growth for soccer in the Bay Area overall. And I think that's what everything is trending towards. I mean, you have the San Jose Earthquakes representing the South Bay, and they're in Major League Soccer. You have the Roots in Oakland, USL. You have the Glens now in San Francisco, USL League Two. It just shows you the appetite that there is for soccer in the Bay Area and that continues to grow. And obviously you allude to the multiculturalism in the Bay Area, like I was when I was referencing everything that I think would make Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area a great host for World Cup games. This just gives more credence to that. I mean, we already have 6 professional top-level teams in the Bay Area with the A's, with the Giants, with the 49ers, with the Warriors, with the Sharks, and the Earthquakes. And previously, the Raiders would have made it 7. But now you have, of course, the Roots and the Glens adding on to that. You have the Barracuda. In addition, you have the San Jose Giants. You, of course, have all the major sports programs associated with colleges in the Bay Area. There is no shortage of population and no shortage of fans for all of these sports. And I think that if you maximize upon it, especially what we have going on with soccer in the Bay Area, it's only going to lead to a better outcome overall for the sports, because people, if they're in San Francisco and they're not always wanting to go to Oakland or the South Bay to get to a game, they have an option now. And that might lead to greater fandom that's going to grow for the national team or grow for the Earthquakes or whatever it's going to be. But if we get more overall in terms of a culture of soccer, to me, that's only going to be a good thing, right? That's only going to be something that you look at and you recognize as giving credence to what has been built here over the past 20 years, over the past 30 years. I mean, you go back to the NASL, those fans never went away. They just didn't have the top level teams to root for. And now you've had the success of the Earthquakes. You've had the success of the Roots. You've had the success of what we're now seeing with the Glens. To me, this is exactly what you want to see. You just want to get these people to have their opportunities to go to these games. And I think there's more than enough to go around. And it just shows that there are exciting opportunities happening for soccer players, right? I mean, that's what you want to have. But exciting news for the Glens, and I hope they can get shovels in the ground this summer as they are expecting to do so, and that by the time the spring of 2022 comes around, people can be back healthy over the pandemic and able to go out and go to sporting events again and be able to go to these games, because I think it's a really cool opportunity. And if the renderings come to be the reality, you have the Bay Bridge on one side, you have the San Francisco skyline on the other. I know they have plans for a modular grandstand starting with 1,500 fans, but they want to build upon it. They're hoping for higher profile friendlies. This all sounds absolutely great to me. I'm sure there are some people that will complain about having to go to Treasure Island for a game, but my comeback to that would be that it is better than having no options at all. And considering all the problems that were existing in trying to get to a venue like Kezar, which we saw with the Deltas, we know that that was not exactly easy either. So it's obviously part and parcel with what comes in being in San Francisco and dealing with all the obstacles that are there. But my overall comeback to any of this is that more development in whatever capacity we can get that is pertaining to high-level soccer in the Bay Area, that's only going to be a good thing. It's going to be good for everything soccer in the Bay Area. One hand feeds the other, and this goes a long, long way.